Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Chris. As usual, I'm super happy to see you here. Today, I want to have a look into the Chinese EV company Xpeng with you guys together because the stock just popped crazy 2-3 days ago because they reported their Q3 earnings. But just straight off the bat, this is the prime example of speculation because in fact, their Q3 and the deliveries were just terrible. So let's jump over into the report and see what exactly happened and what we can learn. But before that, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you always stay updated with what's happening in the market. Alright, so looking into their operational and financial highlights for the third quarter of 2022, we can see that total deliveries really came in short in under 30,000 delivered cars, and that's a stark decline from the previous quarters of 34 and 40,000 cars delivered. So we can see that deliveries for Xpeng are declining, and that's really in stark contrast with a lot of other Chinese EV companies, such as NIO as example, which are picking up growth again and which are actually delivering more cars than they did in the past quarter. And you can check out NIO if you're interested in it. I made several videos on it on this channel, so feel free to check it out later. But for Xpeng, that's not where the trouble ends. We see that also total revenue is actually declining by 8.2% from the second quarter. But I want to be fair on this channel, so I do have to say that year over year, the revenue increased by almost 20%, and also their deliveries have increased year over year. But what I'm trying to say is that Xpeng reached its peak in Q4 of 2021, and then we had 2 quarters of stallment of growth. So the company didn't go anywhere, there were no extra deliveries, and now on the third quarter after its peak, we actually see that decline in growth, and it looks like almost a little drop off. So it's going to be very, very difficult for Xpeng to get out of that slump. Now, Xpeng does explain that it has to do with the COVID regulations and the lockdowns and so on in China, but I don't buy it because we have examples of other EV car manufacturers that are still growing during this time period now. And again, that's not the end of the bad news. We see that also gross margins are declining from roughly of 14.4% to 13.5% in this quarter. And now what we're getting into is really a problem because we're selling less cars, we're making less revenues, costs are increasing, and we have to lower our prices. So margins are falling. And of course, all of those three things pull through all the way into the net loss. And we see that we had net loss of 2.4 billion renminbi. And that is really a big difference from last year of 1.6 billion renminbi. So the Q3 of 2022 was really a big disaster for Xpeng, and that's why at the beginning I said the share price popping up 2 days ago is pure speculation, because there's almost nothing good to be said at the moment about the reports of Xpeng. And additionally to that, another little cherry on top of that whole thing is their business outlook for the Q4. Have a look at this. So they mentioned in their business outlook that they expect for the fourth quarter of 2022 deliveries of vehicles to be at around 20 to 21,000. Now that is a crazy decline year over year of almost 50%. That is very, very bad. So you had this quarter already a stark decline, but you're telling me that next quarter is going to be even worse, a 50% decline. So that is pretty heavy. And of course, due to that, right, revenue will also decline to roughly around 4.8 billion from 5.1 billion. So also again here, roughly around 40 to 45% decline. So in my personal opinion, Xpeng has too many problems. It's really speculative if you're getting into that company at the moment. You see, they have increased competition coming in. Their sales are falling. They don't have any great new lineups coming out, helping them with, increasing deliveries. And additionally to that, sorry to say, but I just think it's ridiculous. They're starting to play around with flying cars and helicopters and stuff like that. For me personally, I'm not touching Xpeng. I'm not a fan of it, as you probably can hear in this video. So I think there are much better alternatives out there at the moment.